What's up? What's up, everybody? This is Ibn Webb. Quran the Sum here. Just want to welcome everybody to my first episode for Official Thanks, my certified official first podcast episode that I'm gonna do. Let me just tell you the premise around Official Thanks. You know, uh, a lot of people put their heart and soul into making sure my life was okay and I was situated, whether it was from parenting, just advice to coaching to just being friends or what have you. Man, I done stole and did a lot of stuff as far as just taking styles from people and little things, little ingredients here and there to make it just become me here. And I just wanted to just pay homage and just give, credit where credit is due. And just officially thank everyone as far as in regards to this. These are my day in and day out heroes, and I just wanted to just take some time, to let them know that and how much they mean to me here. What I've been doing to set people up, I'm just going to give them like a situation, like my first episode right now. It's going to be with my father. I actually told him I just wanted to learn about his childhood experiences, being raised in Newark, New Jersey. So he doesn't know, like ultimately, I'm pretty much just going to just lay it out to him, just like how much he meant to me and just everything else in regards to being my father, advice giver, etc. here. But he doesn't have no clue in regards to that. He thinks he's just coming on here just to give his childhood, his life experience in Newark from the 60s and 70s. So this should be fun, emotional, everything in between here. But again, I just wanted to start it off, with my father here. So he should be on shortly, relatively shortly. And then, like I said, that's the premise around official thanks. This is again, I know I got some things to clean up, imagery or what have you here, but this is the straight raw, just straight ib here. No filter, what have you here. And again, that's just how I'm just going to just give it to the audience, you guys here. So just sit back, enjoy these episodes. Again, I think it's just my day in and day out heroes that I just want to pay homage to and say thanks. When I put my hand over my heart, that means I feel them. Shout out to Jigga Man too in regards to that line too. Told you I'm just taking things from everybody here. But it's all good though. So like I said, just sit back, just enjoy these episodes, and again, just because you just never know when somebody might just go. You just never know. A lot of stuff going on in the world, from pandemics to illnesses to age to illnesses, just everything, man. It's just crazy. But I think it's just again my way of doing. I just want to just kind of get them on, get them on camera, let them know. Again, with the whole pandemic right now, I can't really, sit around too many people for too long here. But I'm just gonna catch who I can catch. And again, like I said, hopefully enjoy these episodes and just take something out of them, and maybe even on your end, just start, extending yourself out to folks and just, just saying thank you. I mean, thanks go a long way here. So again, like I said, just wait for my pops to get on. I know social medias and these different platforms have their disadvantages and advantages here. So I know he's going to figure it out and just jump on. And like I said, it should be a good one. Like I said, definitely a well full of knowledge and just experience and just life journeys or what have you here. Just again, like I said, I'm just looking forward to it and giving you guys other stuff, other people around. Like I said, my day in and day out heroes. That's just how I'm gonna go about it. So sit back, enjoy, and we're gonna get to it. Yeah. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam.
Yeah. How's everything?
Good, good, good. Everything is good. Just sitting here, just kind of relaxing. Thank you for having me. I appreciate you. I think this is going to be fun.
No, absolutely, absolutely. So again, we you could get right into it. I mean, again, like I said, I'm mindful, of people's time or what have you here, but not like I said, just something I was just trying to do as far as just around Newark or what have you here. And I know you said you'd be willing to share just your experience in regards to just 60s and
Mhm.
70s. I'm
Sure.
all in.
Okay, all right, good. But before I do that, I'd like to just touch on how I became to be in Newark because I wasn't originally born in Newark. I was born in a small town in Oak City, North Carolina. And no matter what, I'm going to always be a Tar Heel. I'm always going to rep North Carolina because that's my beginnings.
Absolutely,
uh,
absolutely.
what was taking place was is that we were coming up here to visit each summer.
Oh,
Uh,
that's you and Auntie, right?
Right, right. So what happened was in 1960, it was getting late in the summer, and I saw that we weren't going shopping for clothes, and because in North Carolina, schools start early. They start in like August, so already we was like already had missed like 3 weeks of school, so we couldn't figure out what was going on. And then we found out that that Pop Up and Mama said, "No, you guys are staying." So that's how we ended up staying. So actually, we lived on West Market Street and Nelson Place, actually for a point of reference where the new jail was built.
Okay.
That's where we lived, and we had the huge on 13th Avenue, that big huge parking lot. That's where we played. We played basketball there. We played football there. The girls played hopscotch. They played jump rope. We played marbles. We played tiddlywinks, which is probably something that I'm sure that doesn't take place today. That's really like a real lost art. And, what was really great about that particular time and era was that it wasn't the type thing wherein that like you could expect like toys and going to the store, and then we became very creative. We built our own scooters,
Mm-hmm.
built our own skating. We would go around and find old wheels on old buggies and make go-karts and do all of that because we had to that's how we had to get the things that we needed in order to play with. No such thing as going to the store or going to a mall because malls weren't here yet.
Yeah.
And so that was really a great time. I actually became a patrol boy, which is probably something that doesn't no longer exist. And
Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so.
yeah. That's a patrol boy. One of the duties of a patrol boy was when someone would take ill or someone had to go home. We had to escort them home to make sure that they got home okay.
Okay.
And also you also subbed as like a hall monitor where you actually was given a little bit of authority as far as like trying to keep all the rest of the kids quiet and moving in the hallways. As long as you understood that you was just there to monitor. You weren't the teacher.
Yeah.
And so that was really uh, I'm sorry, my fifth and sixth grade experience by living over there because we lived where we lived at, and I didn't know this until actually after we had moved. We were actually physically living in a hotel, and I never knew that because we had a full apartment, we had a backyard, and but it was actually a hotel, and I didn't discover that until years later.
Yeah. Interesting.
So
Yeah, I know that till just now. So yeah.
and across the street from us was this big, huge bakery, and then matter of fact, nothing was built up around there. It was all like almost like woody area, nothing like it is now. So that was actually our play area. So that was really a great experience. And then Mama, being Mama, she decided it was time for us to move. So we actually relocated to another part of Newark, actually Huntington Terrace, which
Okay.
was actually in between Hawthorne Avenue and Nye Avenue.
Right now.
Now we're looking at around 63.
Okay.
Because, yeah, that began my seventh grade, where I went to Hawthorne Avenue School, and great school. That's where I really actually really learned how to play basketball because I was on the basketball team there. I was on the baseball team there, and Mr. V, that's what we called him, Mr. Valente. He was our coach, and we went around to different schools, and we had a big rival with Miller Street School, which was actually down off of Elizabeth Avenue. Big rivalry with them,
Okay.
and that was really really a great time. We used to every Tuesday we had skate night at the school. So you would bring your roller skates, for those that had the roller skates and those that still had the steel skates. You probably don't remember those, the steel skates with the key.
Yeah. No, they were still around.
Oh, they still around? Yeah.
Oh no,
Was
I
you
don't know
did?
about that. No, no, I don't think now. But I'm saying me being a kid. Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember.
Yeah, so that's so we would come every Tuesday night and skate in the gym. That was really, really, really fun. And then there was a very tragic experience. in actually November of '63. That's when President Kennedy was assassinated. Mm-hmm. Right, and this happened while we were there. It was really very, very tragic. We also had other incidents where, again, I doubt if they do that now, but it was referred to as civil defense, because the United States was having issues with Cuba. And so we had to take civil defense drills. And the drills were we had to get up underneath our desk and, put your hands over your head. But years later, I realized stop a nuclear bomb. So, yeah. But that's what we were instructed to do, And so those was really like 63, 64, again, 7th and 8th grade. Now, beginning of 65, first year in high school.
Okay.
Wequahic, and I'm gonna say it again, Wequahic. A lot of people say Wequahic, but they were the Wequahic Indians.
That's right.
That was, without question, the greatest part of my childhood by being there at the school. Fantastic school, great school, wonderful teachers. It was just really, really, really great time there. A lot of activities, learned a great deal. Again, 67, I'm gonna push forward to 67 because that was a change. That's when some people say riots, some people say civil disobedience, some people say civil disturbance. But what had happened was a taxi cab driver had got shot and killed on Springfield Avenue. This is in 1967, which actually triggered the disturbances wherein, again, like I said, a lot of people use the riots, but it was actually just a type of situation where people were kind of fed up with the way things were going and all the things happened. Because I remember one time we was traveling across town and we were stopped by the National Guard. They had the rifles on us. We had to get out of the car. We were searched. And so it was kind of harrowing, but, we never experienced anything like that. But during that early part, outside of that, it was still great times because we had the 25-cent parties.
Okay.
We had plenty of those. As a matter of fact, I'm sure you're familiar with that movie, Cooley High.
Yes.
Okay. Cooley High is a absolute perfect example of what high school life was for me at Wequahic. I mean, they nailed it perfectly.
Okay.
And then one more thing that we had that had happened in 1968. Actually, three things of real significance happened in 1968. In April 4th, 1968, Martin Luther King was assassinated. That was huge. That was really, really huge. I'm actually a junior in high school at this time. It was really, really huge. There was a school, I'm going to say a school rebellion, a school walkout, which was actually orchestrated
right?
by your uncle.
Yeah.
Yeah. He in fact organized it, and the reason being that took place is because there was no Black studies.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing about, again, it was the typical history of this took place during slavery, and which we all know there's far more to Black history than just slavery. We weren't made aware of the contributions that so many Blacks had made, to the community as well as to the nation. And then in June of '68, Robert Kennedy was assassinated, who was the brother of John Kennedy. He was assassinated. He was actually running for president. And so that was another turning point during that particular time. Again, we had more disturbances following the death, actually the assassination of Martin Luther King, and then the assassination of Bobby Kennedy. So those two things happened, and again, it was like actually not just in Newark, but actually it created disturbances all across the country.
Yeah.
Now we're going to just kind of fast forward to 1959, entering my senior year in high school. Great times, absolutely great times. This was the era of actually the Temptations, Marvin Gaye, Martha Reed and the Vandellas, which are probably names that people may not be as familiar with today, but these were like the standard bearers. They actually set the standard for what in fact takes place today, in relationship to because we were starting to get like message songs, message music, like Edwin Starr, War, what is it good for? Because this was actually the height of the Vietnam War that was taking place. And a lot of people felt as though that war was, the term that was most often used was an unjust war. Most people didn't really understand why we were going 10,000 miles across the other side of the world to, like to engage in battle with this other nation and group of people. I didn't understand it. But again, this was taking place. Actually, I went to my first cotillion.
Okay.
Now, I didn't know what cotillion was. Believe me, I had no idea what a cotillion was. First time I ever wore a tuxedo.
What color was it?
Of course, it was black. It was a black double-breasted. As a matter of fact, I'm too young to drive, so Pop had to drive us. Drive us downtown. Was at the Continental Ballroom.
Okay.
And I didn't know that a cotillion was actually like a coming out party for 16-year-old females, where they were, quote, being introduced into society. I didn't know anything about that, but it was a great time, had a lot of fun. And of course, in '69, went to my first prom. That was something, actually in West Orange Manor.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's where our first prom was. The first prom that I went to anyway was there. And when I say we, in the school, I'm going to step back a little bit. 66 and 67, the Wequahic basketball team. I actually tried out for that team, but of course, I didn't make that team.
Yeah, they were national powers.
2 years in a row, lost one game in 2 years. 2 years champions, lost one game in 2 years by 1 point to Boys High. Yeah, we used to, I guess I can say it now, we used to actually sneak on the bus and ride down to Atlantic City to the convention centers, because that's where all the playoffs were. Okay. So I can say it now. That's like, I don't think anybody's going to come after me now.
Yeah, I think you're good.
Yeah, so we had all of that. Actually, in 1968, we were city champs in football. And our biggest rivalry was, it's called Shabazz now, but for us old school, it'll always be Southside. Because
Soul Bowl, right?
Yeah, Soul Bowl. That's where everyone, the alumni, everybody always came back for that particular game, that Thanksgiving game. Again, the 60s were a great time, even though there were issues, tragedies, but for me, I wouldn't trade it for anything, because again, it was just a great time, especially in Newark, because at that particular time, you could literally walk all over the town, no issues, no concerns. I mean, you could travel because we were either walking or taking a bus. That's how we got around, Also, we went over. When I say we, it was like myself and fellows from the block. We went to over to 17th Avenue. It was referred to as the 17th Avenue Projects, but in the basement there, they had a boxing club. called
Okay.
Duke City.
Okay.
And that's where I went to, just to learn the basic fundamentals. And, I was there for a period of time until I realized that, like they say now, you don't play boxing.
Nah. That you don't.
Do not play boxing. Boxing is not a play game. It's a serious deal. But again, we would walk from where we lived, which was on, like I said, 100th Terrace, and we would walk from there to 17th Avenue, which was really about 2 miles. And we would walk over there, and we would have our gloves, and we got everything, all our gear, and we would go there and we would spar and we would do all of that. But again, it was really fun. It was great, And Newark was truly a great place to be because in the 60s, the government it was actually pretty much an Italian government. And we didn't really see a change until Ken Gibson. He became mayor in 1970.
Okay.
And so actually he was the first Black mayor of the city of Newark at that time. So, again, we had a lot of things that were taking place, but again, it was a great time. If you were a teenager, it was an absolute wonderful time in Newark at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. So I enjoyed it. I actually think about it often, because it was such fun.
It's your childhood.
Really,
Yeah,
really
absolutely.
fun. So, and probably I would say probably for most people, high school is probably your most fun days. College is a little different because you're a little older, you're a little bit more mature, but high school is actually the time period where, again, you're making and establishing relationships, and you're getting to know people that that are not necessarily in your circle, but again, you're getting to develop. And that's was one of the things that was really very helpful for me as far as contributing to growth and development.
Mm-hmm. I always, like I said, like to hear these stories and even a couple of new information I done got. You know what I mean? So it's always cool. It's always cool to hear this.
Yeah. Well, again, it's a lot of stories. It's a lot of stories with a lot of things were going on, a lot of things were happening. But again, it was all about a learning process, and growth, and preparedness,
Right.
being prepared for the about to enter into adulthood, and so again at graduation, I kind of not necessarily sat around, but after graduation, you kind of like, I guess, kind of like cooling out, so to speak, because you're trying to find, well, what am I going to do? Where am I going to go?
Mm-hmm.
And, Pop had a remedy for that. He was listen, he said, his thing was like, listen, okay, this is August, you graduated in June, what you gonna do?
Right.
So actually I started working for Prudential insurance company downtown Newark, on Washington Street. I actually worked there for 3 years. Excuse me. I worked there for 3 years until I started working for Joe Fishman's.
Now you and Fatia worked there, right?
Yeah. Fatia and I worked there. Newark was the absolute fashion center, and more specifically, Branford Place, because on Branford Place you had Joe Fisherman's, you had Joe Camelia's, you had Mr. Man, you had Lincoln Road. These were all very high-end stores. People everywhere to shop on Branford Place, because if you weren't shopping on Branford Place, you weren't exactly quite with it. It was really with it. So and most people didn't realize that even though the name was Joe Fishman, it was actually Otis Brown who actually owned the store.
Okay.
Right. And he also had a second store on Central Avenue in East Orange. but the primary store was Joe Fishman's downtown on Branford Place.
Okay.
Yeah, and actually I stayed there for 3 years. Then after that, Fatih and I, we started working for Rahman Ali's jewelry store.
Mm-hmm. That was on Branford too? Or?
That was on Branford Place. Because on Branford Place, you had really places that were iconic, like what you still did now, like Hobbies Delicatessen.
Okay.
That's been there forever. I mean, clearly the best pastrami sandwiches around. You also had the 50/50 Mention, which was a restaurant a little further down on Branford Place. That's actually where I introduced Fatia to Blanche.
Okay.
At the 50/50 Mention, and so again, we from there was now as we enter the 70s, and we're a little bit older now. Now we're driving. We have each one of us has vehicles now,
mm-hmm.
and probably I'm going to share the story with you real quick. I know you remember the movie Shaft.
Yes.
The original Shaft. Okay, that movie came out, and when that movie came out, Fatih and I, because a lot of that movie was shot in the village. So Fatih and I, we came with the idea of what we were going to do. We was going to go and hang out in the village so that we could get discovered. Now, of course, none of us were actors. We had no acting ability or anything like that. But we just thought that if we went to Cafe Reggio, where a lot of that movie was filmed, that we would get like recognized for something and get pulled in the industry. Needless to say, that didn't happen.
Yeah, and I'm sure y'all was like dressed to the T, I'm sure.
Oh, and listen, during that time, it was the big hats.
Okay.
It was a lot of bell bottoms,
mm-hmm.
That type of thing. Yeah, but we was always prepared. Actually, I had at that time I had a '69 Fleetwood, which was about a block long.
Right. Yeah.
So it took about a minute to turn the corner. That's how long it was. And Fatia had a gray deuce and a quarter.
Okay.
Better known as a Buick 225, but again for us it was a deuce and a quarter.
Yeah.
And yeah, so again, we tremendous amount of experiences together, learned a lot, did a lot of things, experienced a lot of things, and again, but they were all part of growth and development, which led to a lot of good things.
No, good stuff. Now, even being in Newark, your transitioning over to Islam, that pretty much occurred during that time, that window of time, I'm sure.
Well, actually, yes, it did. Again, I'm going to step back a little bit. Now, when in high school, when I first had any inkling of Islam was when Malcolm X was assassinated in 1965, in February of 1965. All prior to that, I knew nothing because coming from North Carolina, North Carolina is like you're a Baptist. That's like that's just the order of the day. It didn't matter what you claimed. You were a Baptist. So prior to the assassination of Malcolm X, I knew nothing about Islam. So so after that, I began to hear more, to see more, and to actually understand more. So actually, I first started attending the masjid in 71. That's when I first started attending. On South Orange Avenue, 257 South Orange Avenue, number 25. And again, when I first started attending, like with anything new, you like, okay, I'm coming here, I'm getting information that I was not familiar with before. So again, I'm letting it come in slowly, and but my absolute embrace came in September of '73, when I received my ex. So at that time you were receiving exes at that particular time, and And then from there, my first experience in Savior's Day, which was always in February, and always held in Chicago. So my first Savior's Day was February of '74.
Okay.
When I actually got to physically meet the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Actually, we went on a tour of his house, which was like really kind of like incredible because I'm like really, in a sense, I'm kind of like a newbie at that particular point, you know. But I brothers, we call him C10. He was James Anderson. May he rest in peace. He in fact got us in to be able to make the visit. And actually, out of all of the people that were there, and it was packed. It was literally thousands of people there for Savior's Day. I actually got to sit in the second row center.
Okay.
Incredible,
Yeah.
absolutely incredible. And I actually, that was the only time that I actually physically heard him and saw him speak, because the following year he passed in '75, in the early part of February of '75. So I only got to physically see him and actually hear him that one particular time. And I recall he said so many things, you know, because like when you've been giving knowledge, you know, like, and you're taking it in, you're taking it in, now there's a lot of knowledge that's passed along, but certain things stick with you. And one of the primary things that he said that stuck with me then and still resonates with me today, the one thing he said was, waste no time on a rusty lock. And I'm like trying to say, okay, all right, well, what does he mean by that? We say waste no time on a rusty lock. So I'm, you know, I'm listening to it and I'm digesting it. And for me, it was like, listen, if this is not working, you know, maybe you just need to replace that lock. You need to get a new lock. If this is not working, if this is not right, whatever the situation is, but if you keep trying to work with that rusty lock, you're not going anywhere because it's not working. So that I took that away with me, and actually, I've, you know, over all of these years, you know, I still like refer back to that because that really meant a lot, and I got a lot from that.
Nah, it's always a jewel somewhere. I mean,
Yeah.
whether wherever you get it from, you know, it's always a jewel. I want to
Mm-hmm.
kind of nice little segue here. Just kind of just switch gears just a tad bit. I know you talked about, you know, Savior's Day and February '74. I
Mm-hmm.
want to take you, yeah, probably, you know, a few months down the road, October '74. Now, with that being said, uh, yeah, with that being said, I just wanted to share with you
Mm-hmm.
what this is that I'm doing. Actually, you're the first person I've had on this. This is a podcast that I'm just getting off the ground. It's called Official Thanks. And I knew I didn't want to kind of give it away in the beginning. You know, so that's why I definitely, even with some of the experiences growing up in Newark or what have you, and, you know, just to kind of, you know, get your brain thinking and also some nostalgia, and to your point, just even listening to some of the great times of your life here. You know, part of this with this podcast that I'm doing solely, it's just me just thanking people that are in my life, my everyday, my day in and day out heroes. That's what I like to call them. And I wanted you to be my first guest, you know, in regards to that. And I wanted to just kind of just share just some things here. And the reason I decided to do this, just for people in general, like, you just never know where people are at in their lives, you know. And I think particularly when it comes to me here, and I think you know, a lot of people know and shaped and molded, and, you know, a reason that I'm sitting here today talking to you. And obviously, you know, you're one of the biggest reasons that I am here sitting here today. And what I wanted to do, I had like a ton of, obviously, a million things that I can talk about. Maybe some stuff would just come out here, but I had a few, what I'm kind of calling them is official thanks moments. One of them was just being my father. I think first and foremost, I couldn't ask for a better father. And I think just with it all said and done here, it's just these 40 plus years, 45 plus years, soon to be 46 plus years here, you know, it's been great. Just the consistency that you've had, as far as in my life here. Outside of your first marriage with mom and all that, dissolve and what have you. You've been around, and I think just one of my, a lot of people can't say that, about their fathers. As far as gifts are great, monetary gifts are great, but the presence of someone being around and hearing a voice and just being physically there, that meant the world to me. And I think, that's just kind of one of my first just, moments there. And I think just flat out just saying thank you here. And, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. And then just to kind of, to be frank, I know there's been moments even when it was decided to have me, contemplate, as far as in regards to, abortions or what have you there. But even me presenting that to you, the one time that we did share, you was a man, you owned up to that. It was just kind of, but even as a adult now, and even having my own child or just going through things in my own life, I get it. I mean, as far as people are in different places in their lives, and sometimes a surprise is not a surprise that you want, but I think still in all, outside of that, you tied your boots up, you tightened your belt up, and it was just like, I'm gonna do this, and I think with that being said, and that says a lot, because it could have, went south, or you couldn't have just been around, you could have just said the heck with it. So I just think that's just one of my first moments. And I think another one of my official think moments is just you just taking pride in being a father. I think it's nothing better than seeing fathers that just take pride as far as being that father. Whether it's the jewels, whether it's the conversations, whether it's just being around, whether it's throwing the ball in front of Dogtown, tossing the ball in front of Dogtown, or going around in the back shooting some hoops. Um, Whether it's just just a certain calm and presence about you here, and I go back to the whole divorce piece here. Not once to this day have you ever said anything bad, about my mom. What I mean? As far as no matter how ugly that divorce got, and believe me, I know it got ugly. Different things that were done here, but never have you ever said one bad word about her to this day, and that's appreciated, definitely by me, and I'm sure by Missy, but I just think they're just taking pride, and it kind of leads into another one, just being at events whenever possible. I think it was just one of those things here, sporting events, being there, obviously your excitement, you project loud. So you obviously, yeah, so your voice is going to be heard, but I wouldn't trade it for the world. Sometimes as a kid, you'd be like, oh, why I boo that loud, this and that. But you know what? I wouldn't trade that for the world. That was just that excitement, you being there, and whether no matter what it was, or even your presence, even when you had the when you was at school, going to the schools or whatever, what have you there. I think about even moments in your life where your jobs went the wrong way, whether it's being laid off or situations that kind of had you jammed up. Not getting around, pretty much, walking pretty much everywhere. You know, you walk into my games. This is from, the other side of Orange to Montclair, or doing what you needed to do to be there. You couldn't get to all of them or whatever the case is, but when you got there, you got there. And sitting in the rain, just being that father presence here, like I said, as a kid, you kind of take that for granted, but looking back, it's been great. Just to kind of just know that, and I think even on the academic side, I know it took some time for me to make that turn, but I just remember you just randomly saying, "Hey, I just stopped by your school. Like, you're not doing what you're supposed to do." Just letting it know, like, at any time a parent could just pop up, and kind of see what's going on. Like, just as a child, you're an investment to your parents, and they gotta make sure that investment, is doing what they're supposed to do. So I think even like these are just little examples here. Like I said, I could sit here all day, but I just think as far as like I said, just being able to be at the events whenever possible here. And I think just your own self as far as just standing your ground as a man, like I said, I think that goes without saying. Like, you are who you are because you hold yourself to high standards. and whatever you believe in, you have that conviction, which you've, spilled down to me as well too. Just like if you stand for something, you hold your ground. If it's wrong, you fix it later. But if it's something, that's what's just what it is. I mean, you stand your ground. And I know another one. I mean, all this I'm kind of talking broader out, but I think just working your plan. Maybe your plan is different from another one of your peers or relatives. Somebody might be somewhere else in life. You're where you're at in life, but you always stress just having peace. That was your thing, just having peace. And you can't put no price tag on peace. You can't put no big house on peace. You can't put like a big European car on peace. You just can't. I mean, like that was your main thing here, just having some peace. No matter what it was, like you working your plan as far as you did what was best for you. And I think it's just been great. And again, I think having a daughter now, 6 years in, as far as just, some things you'd be like, you're never gonna, I'm never gonna be like some things I'm gonna tweak and remix a little bit and kind of cater to how Ib likes it, which is fine. But I think the core and the essence of me, is 100% you in regards to the father that I want to be. But again, obviously, there's some tweaks, some things that I'll veer off that that I might find that works better for me. But I think the foundation, everything's just been was just solidified and laid, which has just been great. And again, it's just me just officially thanking you, because I think it's just it just goes without saying, like I said, as a child, particularly a son, having their father around, like is priceless. And I think it's just one of those things here, like it needs to be voiced. And I don't share it enough here. And again, that's part of the reason I'm doing this. This would even other family members, other folks in my life here, like, everybody done, I done stole and did everything from different people that, I kind of put in my little life pocket and kind of made me here. But I definitely just wanted to just share, and just basically just say like, thank you, just for everything. Just even hearing these stories, granted, I've heard a few of them a few times, even the discipline stuff, I know of your pop-up as far as just the garbage story, like I think about that all the time, as far as, the situation, even with the garbage, like, you didn't listen. Next thing you had the garbage dumped on you. Just little,
Yeah.
those, a little straight to the point. And some people might say over the top, but you're talking 60s, 70s, there was nothing wrong with it. Now you get, DIFAS called on you for something like that, but I see nothing wrong, but I get it. And, I know he's not here, and I know, but I know that trickles down from him as well. Just like some of the stuff that was instilled in you, and I'm sure you took things, tweaked it, and said, "All right, this gonna be my style, my parenting style." And the same thing with me here, like with Nyla. But I just wanted to thank you, and I think, and again, once again, just kind of just things that you laid down. I'm sure some things, if you go back, you would do different. But I say doing it different, I might be a different me. We might not be having this conversation. It might be something else. So I just take it for what it is and the reality of it here. Like I'm sitting here standing, and having this conversation with you. And again, and I just say thank you. And I rather do.
Well, son, well, words cannot express how I feel. I thank you so much for that. But I want to share this with you. I want to share this with you. And I've never shared this with you, but I want to share this with you. This is in relationship to your mom. When you were born, the day in which you were born at Beth Israel Hospital, your mom said, and I quote, "My son is going to be a star." That's what your mom said the day that you were born. I was working at the post office. I was working the midnight shift. And actually, I used to, after I would get off work, I would come to the hospital. And I don't want to get too, but I would come to the hospital and see you and make sure everything was good. And it was a lot. It was just great. You know, um, I want to thank you for being my son. I want to thank you for liking me. And here's what I mean when I say that. See, when we have father and sons or parents and children, they have relationships wherein that there's always a love factor where you love your child, you love your parent. That's almost ingrained. But all kids don't like their parents. You follow what I'm saying? They love them, but all kids don't like their parents, right? With you and your sister, I know and I feel that you guys not only love me, you like me, which means the world to me, which really, really, really means the world to me, knowing how your children feel about you. Because children don't always, and I only refer to as children. I mean, clearly you're a grown adult. You're married. You have your own family. You're a man. But at the end of the day, you're still my child. Right. At the absolute end of the day, that will never change. I don't care how far we get along. That's going to never change. So, for you to share your feelings like this, it's heartwarming. I appreciate it. I love you, always will love you, support you, whatever you do. I always say to you, stand for your conviction, whatever it is. If you are committed to your conviction, stand your ground, always. And that's what you've done. You are an absolute tremendous father, husband, provider, mentor. You really have no idea how many people actually look up to you because of who you are and the things that you've done and the groundwork and the foundation that you've laid. So again, having this and being able to share these feelings and thoughts today is just absolutely wonderful. I appreciate it. And again, as you know, I have nothing but love for your mom. And never had any issues, and I have nothing but love for your mom, and it's going to always be that way. And so again, I'm just happy, I'm pleased, and I'm thrilled to be part of your life and for you to embrace. And I just feel great, and I'm extremely appreciative, man. And I'm glad that you're my son.
Nah, thank you.
That you refer to me as Abu. I love you for that.
Nah, you always be Abu. I love you too. And I just think as far as, all interesting enough, like even a couple of weeks ago, I don't remember, just interesting, you talking about some of the football stuff. I know with the Cobras and it's stuff like that. It's even getting on that bus and going on that hike to Florida. Ooh, that was a you said 18. It probably was longer than that. It probably was much longer than it seemed longer than that. But just to even go down there, and I know even some of my teammates, obviously their parents for whatever the reason couldn't go down there. Some did, but just for you to even jump on that bus to go down there, I mean, meant the world. Just kind of an example in regards to some of this stuff here. It's kind of just doing this, and like I said, a bunch of things I could just talk about here. But whether it's the athletics, and then even the times not doing so well, or even me and Keon coming to the house, coming to say what's up. Next thing, 2-3 hours later, we still there listening. We tried to run around, and but you made sure, like, if we gonna run around, you're gonna hear some stuff, and make sure you guys are smart enough out there,
right,
right decisions or what have you there. And then obviously, just again, I think just being that staple as far as in my life, Missy's life, what have you. I think it's just it's been great. And I said no no parent is perfect. There's no perfect child either, but you figure it out, and you find a common ground. And I think and I think even with that being said, just kind of just it just goes without saying. It just goes without saying. And I think it's just I don't need to share these thoughts like if you were no longer here, and I think folks need to, share stuff like this even more. But that's the reason I kind of just wanted to start this. And again, I have another list of some folks that I'm gonna get to, but I just think I want to at least definitely just tell you, just like I said, just for some of those moments and a million other moments, as far as the reason, I'm standing here talking now. And who would have thought? I never thought I'd be sitting in front of a class talking to some teachers. I mean, talking to some adults, conducting classes, and being on somebody's college campus. Let alone being a father. I had, I was cool just going through this life like, all right, I'm not gonna be a father here, but or it was just interesting enough talking to Colleen. I think it was yesterday or the day before, just kind of just saw some like this joke about the son thing. I was just like, you know what? I'm so glad I have a daughter. When it's all said and done, I think it was one of those things. Initially, as a male, I wanted a son. But I said, but I was just like having a son. Those expectations, if he didn't kind of do certain things that I once did or experienced, it would have bothered me. It would have, and I told I had colleague I was like, yeah, it would have bothered me a little bit. But I think just having Nyla, I mean, just sharing a whole bunch of different other stuff. Even Friday night, I'm on the floor with Barbies. It's just crazy. And then even this morning, she has a new doll. Like I said, I lost the bet. So actually, we had to go to the American Girl doll store yesterday. So we snuck down to the city, got the doll from the store, and came back because I had a little bet with her that I wound up losing, so I had to pay out. But I think outside of the having to get her the doll, that's just a lesson. Like, hey, you lose and you own up to what you lost. So that's it might not resonate now, but maybe later. But I think I say that to say even this morning, her sleeping with the doll. I greet everybody in the morning. Then she's like, oh, puts the doll in my face. I was like, what you doing? She's like, Naya, I think that's her name. Oh, she wants a hug. So I'm hugging dolls. It's like, I'm just like, oh man. But yeah, so it's interesting, like I said, even as a father, like I said, things you think you wouldn't say or wouldn't do, that your parents did. You obviously, of course, you find yourself doing them. But I think with anything, like with me, you tweak it, you confine it to what works for me, but you still take like that foundation that's laid by your parents.
Well, again, a father-daughter relationship is a little special because it's father-daughter, right? Now, a father and son relationship is a great relationship. A father-daughter relationship is a great relationship, but they're just a little different from a father with a son to a father with a daughter. It's a little different, but it's absolutely a great relationship. And when you see as you watch the daughter grow, and as that daughter grows, there's a song way back in the day, "To Serve with Love," where in the song she sings about this person that she had the utmost respect for, and that this person was such an influence in her life, and how he watched her grow from crayons to perfume, which is really, to me, that's really kind of a heavy connotation, because from the crayons to the perfume is quite a growth period. And you deal with all of the things that come in between the crayons and the perfume, because by the time she gets to the perfumes, she's still going to be daddy's little girl, but your relationship is now going to be a little different because now she's older now.
Right.
Like I said, once you get to that perfume stage, you're going to be getting knocks on the door, phone going to be ringing, I mean, and so again, so as a father, as a parent, you're like, okay, Well, now I have to prepare for this because I know this is going to take place because this is some of the same or similar things that I did when I was coming up, when you were coming up. You were on the phone, you were knocking doors because that's part of the growth process.
Yeah, stuff I'm not looking forward to.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah. I
yeah,
know it. I know it because but here's the deal. It's coming.
it's the reality. I know.
It's coming. Definitely coming. You know?
Yeah.
But here's what I would like to say. I feel absolutely honored, honored. Two reasons. To be part of this and to be able for us to be really this candid. I
Hmm.
feel and I feel so great the fact that we can be and have been and always been so candid,
Right.
so open and so upfront with one another, you know. And again, I I enjoyed that so. I enjoy when you call me and you want to chop something up with me. You want to run it past me. You want to kind of get my feel, get my thought. You have no idea how I am impacted by that because again, that tells me and that lets me know that again, not only there is there a respect factor, but you think enough of me as your father, as your abu, even at this stage, to share things with me and to get and to ask for my feel, my take, my opinion. A lot of, and again, when I use the term children, they don't do that with their parents because they get to a certain stage and like, well, now let me check with my boy, see what my boy think about this. Let me check with my homie. Let me check
Mhm.
with so and so. But you know, but again, you share things with me, and again, to ask my opinion and my feel, I tell you, to me, that's the greatest. That's just the greatest.
Yeah, and yeah. I think even with that, I think it's kind of goes without saying. I mean, not only being my father, but stuff that I'm going through. You've been through it or had some kind of idea about it. So it's just kind of like who better else to go to. In regards to that, and I think just kind of you've been through these ages, these stages of life that I'm going through right now. So I think I said, yeah, that kind of goes without saying. Who better else to ask?
Mm-hmm. Well, it's absolutely appreciated. Believe me, it really truly is.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, I just want to just thank you again for just taking some time out on your Sunday, just to kind of just shoot the breeze with me here and just share some stuff. And again, hopefully I blindside you too much, but again, I had to get you on.
No, no, no,
Oh,
no,
I didn't. Yeah, so
no, nothing at all. Again, open and honest conversation.
yeah,
Okay. See, one thing I've learned when you tell the truth, you don't have to have a good memory.
that's right.
If you follow what I'm saying, you know, you don't have to rely upon, oh, what was this, what was that, you know. So when you're telling the truth and you're sharing the truth and you're sharing from within your soul. I mean, from actually from totally from within, you know, the term it is what it is, that makes a lot of sense. Again, when you're telling the truth and you're sharing how you truly feel and how you truly believe, you don't have to have a good memory. And again, I have always admired that part of our relationship, you know, because we've always been direct, we've always been honest with one another, we've always asked tough questions,
Hmm.
and I have no issues with being asked a tough question because if you're asking me a tough question, I have to give you an answer.
Right.
It requires an answer. You know, I've asked you tough questions and you've always given me an answer. So again, I actually admire our relationship because our relationship it has grown so that from a parent to a friend, but always the parent first. You know me.
That's right. Yeah, that I always keep that in mind. Again, yeah, I don't.
No, no, no. No matter what, I will always be the parent.
That's right.
We can have a friendly relationship, which is great, but I'm going to give you the parent first.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Like I know you would do with Nyla. You're going to give Nyla the parent first.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Nah, so again, like I said, Wall, thanks for being, officially you, which has made me, Wall, help me become officially me here. So,
Well,
like I said.
well, thank you for having me. And again, it's such an honor that you chose to have me as first of your initial project here. So I'm really overwhelmed by that. It's so extremely special. I thank you for that, and I know that you will be successful because you've been successful in everything that you've attempted. Mm-hmm. Okay, because success is measured. All right, one person's interpretation of success may not agree with another person's, but I see you as always has been successful in the things that you've done, the things that you've tried, the things that you've attempted, and more so the things that you have accomplished. But as I said, with all the things that you've done, you have truly, truly been a mentor for so many people that you may not even necessarily be aware of. But there's so many that look up to you and respect you for the things that you've done and for the things that you've accomplished, and simply by the way you walk the walk.
Nah, like I said, get that to you guys, to everyone here. So, thank you. Thank you. So, with that being said, I'm sure I'll reach out, sometime soon. And again, like, I'm glad your phone was working, your camera was working this time. We got it right.
Yeah. Well, thanks to you, I finally got it right. Because I tried several times to try to get it right. But obviously, this was the right time to get it right.
Absolutely. Yeah. So inshallah, we'll talk soon, and thank you again.
No, okay. Assalamu alaikum. And listen, we absolutely must do this again.
No, definitely.
All right.
I'll talk to you soon.
Love you, partner.
Love you too. Assalamu alaikum.